by saying if you didn't get a map, I've got those with me. I can give you one. You can make it your own. So, I guess it's bright enough. Y'all can probably see it back there. Yeah. So I took some time, and then on the back, like I said, you can actually follow them as they go along from Egypt all the way to Mount Sinai. And so it kind of when you do things like that, it may help you a little bit, but it keeps you busy. So we're going to begin in Exodus 16, and I think we may have already covered this just a little bit, but I wanted to pick back up. And they took their journey from Elim, all the congregation of the children of Israel came into the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after the departing out of the land of Egypt. So this is been out of Egypt 1 month. And the whole congregation of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. Well, what does it mean to murmur? Kind of grumbling. It's not like usually you think of loud people hollering and everything. It's that continual grumbling kind of usually you think of it being kind of low. Your kids may have done that when you told them to do something, or I hate to say it, but maybe we may kind of may murmur about some things. Things aren't going right, and you have that kind of low grumble going on, and so that's what they were grumbling, complaining, if you will, kind of not screaming, but they were murmuring against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to God that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots and when we ate bread for the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill the whole assembly with hunger. And again, like I say, I think we'd already read this, but I just wanted to, because we're going to pick up from here. But if you read this, you get the sense that, well, back in Egypt, we had a buffet going on down there, in Egypt, and things were just so much better. We ate as much food as we wanted. Things were just kind of moving right along, and we know that's not the case. But it's strange how quickly people forget and how they look at things. Then the Lord said unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they walk in my law or not. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. He's setting up what they're going to have. You might, in the book, it might be called a test Sabbath, as you will. But this is where the Sabbath, and I think we kind of mentioned that before. This is the first time that the Sabbath's mentioned. And so, but notice how God said that He will prove them. And so we're going to see a situation coming up shortly. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And so that evening, quails literally fell from the sky. And if you've ever eaten quail, I guess it can be pretty tasty. And when the dew was gone on the face of the earth, on the face of the earth was a small round thing like drops of ice on the earth. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, What is it? For they had no idea what it was. Do you remember what they call it? What they're going to wind up calling this? Manna, which is Hebrew for what is it exactly. And Moses said to them, It is the bread which the Lord has given to you for your food. This is what the Lord has said. Let every man take up as much as he has need of, the rate of 1 omer for every person. Let every man take as much as needed for his family. How much is an omer? About 2 quarts, yes. So that would be an omer, about 2 quarts. And Moses said to them, Let no one leave any of it over till the morning. But they did not listen to Moses. Some left part of it to the morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moses was angry with them. Should Moses have been angry with them? I would say yes. He gave them simple instructions. Here's what you do. You don't leave any of it till the morning. And it's kind of like you're dealing with people that, they can easily complain, and they have that grumbling going on. And then when they're told to do something, you've got those who are they're not gonna listen. And Moses was angry with them, so he was right to be angry with them. Morning by morning they gathered each as much as he could eat, but when the sun grew hot, it melted. On the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread. Moses said to them, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will, bake and boil what you will boil, and all that is left over lay aside to be kept till the morning." So they laid aside till the morning, as Moses commanded them, and it did not stink, and there was no worms in it. So they're getting to see, under other circumstances, don't leave it till the morning. When they do, it has worms, it stinks. But when they follow the directions that God that's given them, no problem. Everything goes like it should. And Moses said, "Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is a Sabbath, there will be none." On the seventh day, some of the people went out to gather, but they found none. Again, here is a group of people who, they've been told what to do. And remember, the Lord said, this is to prove them. And so, and the Lord said to Moses, "How long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? See, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, on the sixth day, he gives you bread for 2 days. Remain each of you in his place. Let no one go out of his place on the seventh day." So the people rested on the seventh day. But there were those who, again, and when God gives instructions, is that serious? Should it be serious? Now, go ahead. Yeah. Now, if I give instructions, yeah, you can take it or leave it. But if God says it, there should be no question at all. And the people called the special food manna. It was like small, colander seeds, and tasted like thin cakes made with honey. And then you see on the thing, the manna was like the colander seed, and its appearance was like the appearance of psyllium. So I guess kind of a whitish looking, whatever that psyllium was. And then we see, and as we covered it, I guess when you went out, it looked like frost on the ground or something. When they first saw it on the ground. Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Let an omer of it be kept throughout your generations, so that they may see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt." And Moses said to Aaron, "Take a jar and put an omer of manna in it, a little over about 2 quarts in it, and place it before the Lord to be kept throughout your generations. As the Lord commanded Moses, so Aaron placed it before the testimony to be kept. The people of Israel ate the manna 40 years till they came to a habitable land. They ate the manna till they came to the border of the land of Canaan." And if you look we won't go there, but if you look in Joshua, I think chapter 5, it talks about there when they actually start eating the produce of the land. That's when the manna is going to cease. When people start eating the produce of the land, that's when it's going to happen. That's in Joshua chapter 5. Again, we won't go there, but. I meant to about the Sabbath, this is the first time in Bible history that any mention is made about the Sabbath. Even here, only the barest information is included in the instructions. It's fairly common to refer to this time as a trial Sabbath. The specific laws will be given as part of the law of Moses. So just kind of backing up just a little bit, I meant to read that at that time. But the point is, there's so many new things that are going on, like, the manna here, and they're going to be eating it for 40 years. And unfortunately, what we'll see, I'll go ahead and, not that I'm spoiling anything for you, but they're going to have a problem down the road eating manna, like we're tired of it, And so they're going to have those instances where, they just, again, you're going to have, the attitude of these people. But one of the things I want us to get is that we can have these same attitudes if we're not careful. We can get caught up in things that can irritate us and things that can distract us and that we can not be focused as we should. And this, that we're going through here, let this help kind of be a guide and how they gave us an example. And I think it's further on, 1 Corinthians, I think chapter 10, Judd, I think it is, that recounts the example of the Israelites. I thought you'd mentioned that one time.
I didn't understand what you said.
1 Corinthians chapter 10. I think that kind of talks about the history of the Israelites. But it's further on down how they wandered in the wilderness. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, sorry. And then we see the map where they basically wander down through they're going to Mount Sinai. And the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys according to the commandment of the Lord and pitched at Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses and said, Give us water that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, Why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord? And the people thirsted there for water, and the people murmured. Again, that word murmur, that's that grumbling and that complaining against Moses, and said, Wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? They keep jumping, worst case scenario, and this is like they've been tricked or something. You just brought us out. All of this that we've gone through, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And one of the things that I want to go ahead and I'll go ahead and read here. Moses asked, "Why do you put Jehovah to the test?" And as we see, we're going to call the place testing. What was the significance of that question and of that name? As the text first summarizes their contention against Moses for their lack of water, it only includes their question about why he brought them out of Egypt. That question was totally inappropriate because of their deliverance from Egypt was a rescue from deep trouble, not a forced exodus from a land of ease. But this contention had another side that added to its seriousness. They were asking, is God among us or not? Is he among us? And they had seen every plague to force the Egyptians to release them. They had seen the Red Sea divide, then come back together to destroy their enemy. They had seen the waters of Marah made sweet. They had seen the quail come at the very moment they needed them. And every day they ate a miraculous bread that God provided. The question itself was an insult to God for all the care he was giving his people. And so as we get into this right here, that's what we need to see. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, what shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me. And I don't think Moses was exaggerating. I think I think people can, in what they consider desperate times, can, do desperate measures. And with them saying what they said to Moses, and you want to you want to say, are you serious? Are you kidding me? You're jumping to this is the kind of conclusion you're coming to. Bring this out to kill us. And the Lord said unto Moses, go on before the people, and take with thee of the elders of Israel, and thy rod wherewith thou smotest the river, take in thy hand, and go. And behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, and the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the place Massah or Meribah, because of the chiding of the children of Israel, because they tempted the Lord, saying, Is the Lord among us or not? And again, what an insult. And this was a place of contention, Massah, and testing. And so, and again, do we see the mercy of God here? How so?
Struck him dead for doubting him one more time.
When you deal with difficult people or situations, sometimes you just want to throw your hands up and say, I'm done. That's it. I mean, yes.
These people had seen, well, they'd come out of Egypt with plunder. They had seen the fire leaving at night and cloud during the day. They had seen the waters opened up and walk across the sea. They saw the water close up on the Egyptian soldiers. And they had seen, they'd seen the manna. Of course, they were complaining before then too. But they were complaining when they were trapped up against the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Complaining all the time. Yeah, they do it. As you said a while ago, we got to be careful that we don't do the same thing. You wonder just how strong your faith is sometimes. I mean, we live in a pretty wealthy land. We sort of live in probably one of the better parts as far as, hearing the gospel, a number of faithful congregations in this country as well too. So I wonder if my faith would be, complaining if I had some rough time where maybe you got to stop thinking, God sees you, God knows you, He'll take care of you, and you got to remember where our home is too. That's the main thing. This physical body, it's not the thing.
Well, have you ever thought, you kind of alluding to it, putting yourself in that group of people, how you would have done?
I hope I wouldn't have done that. You do have to stop thinking, maybe I haven't had it that bad as just thirst that they're apparently complaining about here, the water. I pretty much, whenever I want some drink, I'll find some water within a few feet of them, something to drink. Food, it's, I eat way too much food probably every day, probably. So that's what I'm saying. I wonder, pray to have a faith that would not grumble and complain. In Moses here, he's not doing this for his glory, and he's getting all this complaining and grumbling. And of course, we see that pattern happen later on too. That a servant of God's going to be grumbling, complaining about, rejected.
And in this particular situation here, how did Moses get? Well, it was God, but how did God tell Moses to get the water?
He used a stick, I think.
The staff. Is this too loud? Am I too loud? Can you hear me, Jed? Okay. Because I'd forgotten to turn this on to begin with. When I had it kind of up. Let me see if I move it down. Is that better? Is it better?
It was fine. Where do you have it?
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go back there then. Okay. But he tells him to strike the rock. We're going to see an occasion, coming down where, so this is where Moses went through what God told him to do. And again, you got to listen to what God says and do it the way that God wants it done. And unfortunately, Moses had to learn that lesson as well, and hopefully we, get the lesson as well. And he opened the rock and water gushed out. It flowed through the desert like a river. So it wasn't just a little trickle of water. It wasn't just like a river just opened up. And with all the people, you actually needed that, because, as we said, there could be possibly as many as 2 million people or in that neighborhood. And then you have all the cattle and all the livestock and everything. So, It had to happen. And then we're going to see a situation in Exodus 17, 8 through 11. Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. And Adam Clark notes the Amalekites seem to have attacked the Israelites in the same way and through the same motives that the wandering Arabs attacked the caravans, which annually passed through the same desert. It does not appear that the Israelites gave them any kind of provocation. They seem to have attacked them merely through the hopes of plunder. The Amalekites were the posterity of Amalek, one of the dukes of Eliphaz, the son of Esau. And you go back to Genesis and we get that. So these are descendants through Esau. And I wanted to read, I'll wait till I get to that screen. I got to, sometimes I want to jump on something. I got to relax. And here we go. Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. So Moses came to Joshua, "Choose for us men and go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand." And Joshua did as Moses told him, and he fought with Amalek. While Moses and Aaron and Hur went up on the top of the hill, whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hand grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side. So his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the sword. And I wanted to read this. The people had not been raised as slaves nor fighters. Therefore, God chose a visible way to defend his people and to help them fight their battle on this day. Moses was on a mountain overlooking the battlefield with his rod held above his head. This means each soldier had the opportunity of looking to be reassured that God was still helping all during the battle. God was in the process of teaching these people to rely upon him in their heart in their times of need, whatever that need was. So again, in this particular situation, God's letting them fight, but he's doing it in such a way that that they would have the courage themselves, and that they would be a part of this, and they wouldn't just, oh no, what are we going to do? And the Lord said to Moses, "Write this for a memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven." And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah-Nissi. The Lord is my banner. For he said, because the Lord has sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. This is the slide that I went to get to. If you turn over to Deuteronomy chapter 25, it gives you a, let me get there. Yeah, here we go. Deuteronomy chapter 25. It kind of gives you a little more in depth that they actually they attacked the feeble, and it wasn't like let's see, 17 through 19. "Remember what Amalek did to you on the way as you were coming out of Egypt, how he met you on the way, attacked your rear ranks, all the stragglers at your rear. When you were tired and weary, he did not fear God. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord your God has given you rest from your enemies all around in the land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess as an inheritance, that you will blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. You shall not forget." And we won't turn over there to there, but in 1 Samuel 15, this is where Saul is given the mission of going and utterly wiping out the Amalekites, just completely, not just them, their livestock, man, woman, just removing them, as it were, just completely wiping them out. And if y'all remember, did Saul do that mission?
No, when Samuel showed up, he could hear the sheep in the background bleating, and he saved Amalek.
You remember why the people said they saved the best of the sheep, or the best of everything?
Sacrifice to the Lord.
Yeah, oh yeah. We're going to sacrifice to God. Yeah, they put their own, yeah. And no, that wasn't pleasing to God. They did not follow what, and Saul finally realized after Samuel pointed that out to him clearly that he had not, and so God at that point rejected Saul from being king because he did not follow through. And you see why God wanted the Amalekites destroyed because of what they did. But what's interesting, you see that when God takes care of a situation, does he always do it immediately? You mean lightning bolts didn't come down and just wipe that? No, that's right. He had a reason and a purpose. And so the beauty of it, judgment's going to come. But there's a time when it should come. And when he does something, there's a reason and there's purpose for it. And it may not be on our time frame. Think, well, why did it, God knows. And so that's just one of the things that we can get from this as well. When yes.
Well, I may have missed it, but when Israel was fighting the Amalekites and Moses was holding his staff up and his arms got weak and Aaron
And her.
I'm trying to remember what. Do we remember her and who was that again? I mean, was this the first time we hear about her?
I didn't look that up, but that's a good question. I'll have an answer for you next time. We're gonna dig in and see if we can find her. I appreciate the question. I wish I had an answer. Does anybody? Should I throw that at Gable? I won't do that. But good question. But again, we see connections. We see, how God works. And I'll throw this out. Do we have any doubt that judgment is going to come on this world at some point? That God will say enough? People are trying to guess when it's gonna happen here or there. Marcus, did you have something?
Yeah, I was going to say the only other place that her is mentioned is in Exodus 24, and we're not there yet. So.
Okay. That's where her is. Exodus 24. I would think that he was probably one of the elders, because you remember when they wanted to, he was going to bring water from the rock. He was told to get the elders. The elders were supposed to be gathered there, and that was one of the instructions that God gave. And so I think God is, again, there's an orderly way of doing things, and you don't go and get all the young people. You get the elders. And so he could have possibly, just saying, it would be reasonable if he was. Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. And let me pause there. Where did we first run across this Jethro? Do y'all remember? It's by another name. Exodus chapter 2, Ruel, I guess that's how you pronounce his name, Ruel. And one of the things that involves material, going back to that, one of the things that he seems to say that this is probably the one and the same. And like Jacob was known as Jacob or Israel. So had a name had names that were interchangeable, if you will. And so Jethro and Ruel may have been interchangeable, most probably. We don't know exactly or perfectly, but as far as we can tell, this should be Ruel that we had first been introduced to when Moses left Egypt. And do you remember what the daughter's name that was given to Moses' wife? Zipporah, yeah. Ruel, or Jethro's daughter. And as we can see in the thing here, heard of all that God had done for Moses and for Israel, how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. Now Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, had taken Zipporah, Moses' wife, and he had sent her home along with the 2 sons. The name of one was Gershom, for he said, I have been a sojourner in a foreign land. And the name of the other was Eliezer. That's how I'm going to pronounce it, Eliezer. Okay. For he said, the God of my father was my help and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. And so you see how names have significance and importance. And, and I find that very interesting. So you would think that would be, every time you use that name and you remember what it means, it just keeps that in front of you. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moses in the wilderness where he was encamped at the mountain of God. So here they are. They've come back to Sinai. And Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and bowed down and kissed him. And they asked each other their welfare and went into the tent. Then Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardship that had come upon them in the way, and how the Lord had delivered them. Yeah, underline for sure. The Lord had delivered them. And Jethro rejoiced for all the good that the Lord had done to Israel, in that he had delivered them out of the hand of the Egyptians. Jethro said, Blessed be the Lord who has delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians and out of the hand of Pharaoh, and has delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know the Lord is greater than all gods, because in this affair they dealt arrogantly with the people. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. And notice that Aaron came with all the elders. So again, you see that and you think that's, just saying. And Jethro, as it's mentioned, a priest of Midian. And is there another priest that we think about in Abraham's day? Yes. Melchizedek, yeah. We don't know a lot about him, but we know enough about him that he was a great man, and there's a reason. And then in the New Testament, obviously, talking about the Jesus like a priest like Melchizedek. Now I know the Lord is greater than all gods. Some think that Jethro is now converted to the true God, but it's very probable that he enjoyed this blessing before he knew anything of Moses, for it is not likely that Moses would have entered into an alliance with the family had they been heathens. Jethro no doubt had the true patriarchal religion. Henry agrees, the confirmation improvement of his faith. Now I know. He knew it before, but now he knew it better. His faith grew up to a full assurance upon this fresh evidence. And so, and I can see that, as we go, and I can ask you, are you a stronger Christian today than you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Yeah, I hopefully can say yes. I hope we've learned more. We're stronger. We're maybe things that may have been an obstacle to us back then wouldn't be today. That we just keep getting stronger and everything. So I can see where that can be. The more you know, the more you learn. Your faith just increases. The next day, Moses sat to judge the people. And the people stood around Moses from morning till evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he said, "What is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit alone and all the people stand around you from morning till evening?" And let me pause here. So now we're getting some insight into the daily activities, if you will, of what's going on, that are some of the things that are going on. Moses isn't just sitting around. He's got all kinds of expectations placed on him. The people are crying out to him, "Fix this problem. Why did you do this?" And I mean, he's got a lot to handle. And all these people, and so now we get to see a kind of a little more in depth here. And Moses said to his father-in-law, because the people come to me to inquire of God. When they have a dispute, they come to me, and I decide between one person and another. I make them know the statutes of God and His laws. And with all these people, and again, we're talking possibly in the neighborhood of 2 million people, do you think there's always something going on? Somebody's always unhappy. Somebody did me wrong. Something's happened. I'm just saying, in our own household, raising children, it's, you can see we're thinking, Moses really had a lot to you got to think Moses was indeed a true example. Someone that the more you find out about him, was he perfect? No, but all the things that he went through, and God actually, to see some of the things that God says about him, it shows how unique Moses was, and hopefully we have a lot of appreciation the more we learn about him. Moses' father-in-law said to him, "What you are doing is not good. You and the people with you will certainly wear yourselves out, for the thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it alone. Now obey my voice, and I will give you advice, and God will be with you. You shall represent the people before God and bring their cases to God, and you shall warn them about the statutes and the laws, and make them know the way in which they must walk and what they must do. Moreover, look for able men from all the people, men who fear God, who are trustworthy and hate a bribe, and place such men over the people as chiefs of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, of tens, and let them judge the people at all times. Every great matter they shall bring to you, but any small matter they shall decide themselves. So it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you do this, God will direct you, and you will be able to endure. And all this people also will go to their place in peace." So Moses listened to the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he had said. Moses chose the men out of Israel and made them heads over the people, chiefs of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens. And they judged the people at all times. Any case they brought to Moses, any hard case they brought to Moses, but any small matter they decided themselves. Then Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went away to his own country. What do y'all think about the advice of Jethro here? Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Moses, he's exactly right. This great number of people, you can't, and what's going to happen, people are going to get irritated. I've been sitting here all day long. I've been waiting my turn. Just saying. And you can see how this was great advice. And obviously God's gonna.
I was just going to go ahead and finish.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just thinking, why God allowed it to happen that way. You see in verse 23, it appears that God is behind it. God, this is what God wants to have done.
Mm-hmm.
It's just strange, something to think about, or maybe somebody can explain to me. You have a guy from the outside, so to come in, maybe that's why to come in and make this suggestion out loud to everybody. And then, of course, like I said, in verse 23, to me, it looks like they're getting God's approval for this before we put it in practice.
As you see, as time goes on, changes are going to be made. Things are going to be put in place. We hadn't got to where they have a covenant yet, but we're going to see where a lot of that, and I think you make a good point. An outside man sometimes can see exactly. Yes, Marcus.
The biblical record of the first consultant, outside consultant.
And the thing is, Moses had great respect for this man. So, the fact is, Moses, would have listened to him. Why it had to unfold this way, I don't know. But and maybe Moses needed to go through that. If you tell, hey, here's a better way, well, they may not see it right off because they haven't. You haven't had to go through it and bang your head on the wall a few times. But the point is, beautiful solution, and from Jethro, an outside man, if you will. But Moses had great respect for him, and I have no doubt once this got set up, it had a natural flow to it, and so it probably took some pressure off of Moses. So just saying. Any other thoughts on that or anything? Yes.
I think it's, it's important also to see that he delegated this authority for the smaller matters, which freed him up. But still, the heavier matters still came to Moses.
Yeah. And you make a good point. The fact that he delegated or he allowed, because Moses, hey, wait a minute, I'm the man. It has to be me. No. Again, you get to see into Moses, and you see, I think he had the best intentions for the people. I don't think he was one of those people like, I'm the man. Hey, I think when he had to stand up for himself, as it were, it wasn't about him. It was this is about God. This is bigger than me. And so so the thing is, again, you get to see into Moses, and he allows this to go about, and he doesn't like stand up and go like, I'm not turning loose. I'm the man. But so you made a very good point. Any other thoughts or anything? Am I overlooking anybody? Yes, Gable.
I was just going to say, it makes it even more absurd in Numbers when Miriam and Aaron and even Korah, Dathan and Abiram come against Moses and say, are you the only one that God speaks to, or the only one to lead God's people? We've seen examples where Moses does, say, delegate or give authority to others, and even those that came against Moses did have positions of leadership. They wanted more. Moses never was that way.
Well, wasn't he the meekest man? Exactly. And what is meekness? Is meekness weakness? What is that? Huh? So it's like strength under self-control. Exactly. Something I need to work on to have greater self-control, but have a strength there, and it be under control. Moses was certainly a excellent choice. I don't think God knew exactly what he was doing when he chose Moses. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai, for they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai and pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. So here they are. I guess they were close to the mountain. Now they are actually there. And I'll go ahead and show you this one because we're going to have to call it there. But I don't know if that's an actual picture. I would imagine it would be. And but they're going to camp before the mount there, and so that's where we'll pick up. We're on the edge of God offering a covenant to them. So if you want to kind of look into that, that's where we'll be heading next. Thank y'all for y'all's participation.